Yo, what is up? My name is Sven and today we're going to talk about the best, most efficient and cheapest way of setting up a smart alarm that will notify you if your base is getting raided. Rust has recently released the Rust Plus app. You can connect this app to the Rust server that you're currently playing on, and a lot more, including setting up and linking electrical components. Now in this video we're purely going to focus on the smart alarm and setting up a system that will notify you on your phone with a push notification that you're getting raided. Alright, so first things first. I'm going to go out from the fact that you know how to set up or power your electrical system, and there is a power source. In case you don't know this, there's videos out there, including my own, how to set up your power system. Also, there's a lot of ways you can do this, and you can apply this on a lot of different bases. But just to keep it simple and to be able to make accurate comparisons, we're going to take a basic 5x5 as the example base. Once you have this basic base down and a power source, we can start. I expect a part of you not knowing how to set up this electrical system at all, but I mostly expect a lot of people to know how to set up the basics for this. The problem and the biggest challenge that I see in most bases on wipes that I play on myself is that everyone is doing it its own way, and that's fine, but if done wrong, this electrical system just to notify you if you're getting raided can cost a lot of HQM. Now let's talk about HQM and the costs in general. As we have a 5x5 as an example, there will be a north, a west, an east and a south side, and of course the top of the base. If anyone is entering your base through each one of these 5 sides, we would want to know and get notified. These notify points I call the trigger areas. Now for a smart alarm to send out a notification, it needs to be triggered. And exactly how to trigger the smart alarm and what is the best way to do so is what this video is about. Now back to the 5x5 example, there's 5 trigger points in the base. The most commonly used trigger system for a smart alarm right now is people using the HPHF sensor. Now obviously this makes sense because it's a sensor, it detects if people are around and it generally works. But this is not the cheapest way to trigger your smart alarm. Also, the HPHF sensor has some more downsides other than being at 15 HKM per sensor, and that is that it makes a lot of sound. People can hear it from outside of your base. So to make things easier to explain, I have this comparison spreadsheet. Now here we have the example 5x5 with inner peaks. So we have once again the south, east, north and west side and the top side. And our first example is an active switch system. And the reason I use this as example number 1 is because that's what I showcased on a previous video. Alright, so quickly showing you here example number 1 with the switches. Active power switch on each wall, covering each wall on your base. As you can see, they are passing power through and they go all the way around. Power will be blocking a pass through a blocker, aka there's no power going out into the lights, into the audio alarm, just for the example here, but you would have a smart alarm of course at the end of this blocker. And so that if any of these walls gets destroyed, this thing will be destroyed, meaning it will turn off, meaning that the power won't be blocking the blocker anymore and power will go through and it will trigger the alarm. In total, this would come down to 25 HQM per side, with the top side still being used by an HPHF sensor as there's no walls there. It's the cheapest and the easiest to just use a sensor there. In total, this system would cost 115 HQM. Now there's cheaper ways of doing this by using branches instead of switches, because they also allow power to pass through and they will also stop powering through when the wall is destroyed that they're on. So in this case, we can save 10 HQM per side. Still having the HPHF sensor on the top, it will cost us 75 HQM. That's a pretty significant, more cheaper way of doing this. Now there's even better ways of doing this. For example, if you're going to a full HPHF system, and this is example number 3, and this is what you guys use the most, I feel like, out of my own experience, of course. That's one HPHF sensor on each side. So that's 15, 15, 15, 15, and 15 for the one on the top as well, which makes it the same cost as a branch system. Now, what if I told you that you can actually make this even more cheaper and catch 2 flies at once? Example number 4, a turret system. As we all know, turrets are very overpowered, especially if you put pythons in them. And if you're building a 5x5 and you know you're probably gonna get raided, you're gonna have turrets. So if you're gonna have the turrets already anyway, which only cost 10 HQM, then why not use them to trigger your smart alarms at the same time? Besides the fact that you will already use turrets either way, in that case, and them costing only 10 HGM, they are by far the cheapest and easiest way to trigger a smart alarm. So to understand example number 4 a bit better before I show you exactly, it's very important to know that turrets can be powered at the power in, but they have a nice little feature here that says no ammo, low ammo, or has target. And these can be triggered when either of those things is triggered, basically. So if the turret has no ammo and you link this up to like a light, the light will light up when the turret has no ammo. And the same goes for a has target. The has target is what we're going to be using. The turret will let us know that it has a target. And that's the trigger point in the example number 4. So each turret in each corner of the 5x5 will cost you in total 40 HGM. Still having the HBHF sensor on the top. Can also switch that for a turret, but it's just easier in this case. Will only cost us 55 HGM. And we'll always be able to know that we're getting rated. Alright, so with example number 4, which is the best example, because it's not only the cheapest, even if you're not going to use turrets, but you have the turrets and the ability that they will shoot people at the same time as well, which is like, in my opinion, the most perfect and best solution and the cheapest solution as well, which is really cool. So we're using the has target system from a turret, and every turret in each corner is linked up to a smart alarm, with also the HBHF sensor on top being hooked up with one as well. And so that, for example, this turret, I don't have a lot on it. And as you can see, if I run in front of it, the smart alarm gets triggered. And this means that it will be sending out a message to your phone. So that every time this turret or any other has a target, aka someone that it will shoot at, it will trigger the smart alarm. And the same goes on the top. Now you can use the turret here as well. It's just easier if you have like a big top room on your shooting floor where raiders have to go through to trigger that. Now there's more ways to trigger your smart alarm. That's where we have example number 5. And that is the laser system. Now one laser costs 15 HGM. And so it is automatically not cheaper than using turrets, although I still wanted to feature it here because it does definitely work. Although lasers have a downside. For example, the laser doesn't know if it's getting triggered by someone that has a TC privilege or not. Now talking about cheapness and the best way of making a smart alarm system to know if you're getting rated, there's one more very important thing that you should know. So as you can see here, we have 5 smart alarms, and you would say like, okay, why do you have 5? Why don't you have a system that's hooked up with 1? And I agree, I know how to do it, but it's by far not cheaper. So quickly, if we go back to our spreadsheet, we can see here, if we set up a separate smart alarm system per trigger, so that's 5 smart alarms, aka 1 for each turret on each corner and the HBHF sensor on top, it will cost us 15 HGM in total. But if we only have 1 smart system, we need to set up a very complicated system for this to work. So as you can see here, this is kind of like what we're gonna need to set up. And as you can see in my example, if we set the turret to has target, it will trigger the light here and it will trigger the 1 smart alarm you're gonna have here, which will work. But obviously, as you can see, it requires a lot of electrical components. And so if we go back to the spreadsheet, for that system, we're gonna only need 1 smart alarm, but we're gonna need 9 end switches and 5 branches. Plus on the fact that it will cost us more power as well. It will cost us 63 HGM instead of 15. And so unfortunately, as of the game is right now with the electrical components capabilities, it is a lot cheaper to just have 1 smart alarm per 1 trigger. It's by far the cheapest and best way to do this. Now, I honestly expect that you guys are gonna come up with a lot more other ways to trigger the smart alarm and a lot more other smart and innovative ways. Although, since most people already want to use turrets, and since the turrets are also very cheap to have as a trigger, and they can cover like pretty much the entire coverage here of the 5x5, in my opinion, this is the best and the cheapest way of having your smart alarms be triggered. Also, I'm a bit sorry if you're not a PvPer and you're watching this video and you don't like the fact that I use a 5x5. I just use a 5x5 because it's the easiest example, because it has 4 sides, it has inner peaks, and it has a top side. And so to make the statistics with the spreadsheet, it's the easiest to showcase this. Alright, so that was it for this one. A short little video, and I hope it's useful to all of you. Once again, I know there's a lot of other ways to trigger the alarms as well. Although, since everyone already tries to use turrets already, I feel like this is by far the cheapest and best way to have your smart alarm system set up so that you know that you're getting rated. If you want to know more about Rust electricity, I recommend to check out YouTube. I also have a guide on how to set up a modular electrical system for your base that you can adapt to any size. And I would also also recommend to check out Rustician, the website where you can try your electrical systems before you build them in your game. So that was it for this one. I hope this helps you guys a lot. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.